Yo, what's up everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to our new Go Battle League video. Today we're going to be showcasing a lot of fun battles in the Element Cup. I actually went 20 out of 25 games with this team here, which I actually got from Human Catcherbug. Shout out to Human Catcherbug, he's got a really good channel over there, and he's showcasing some really amazing teams. This team worked like an absolute charm for me. I was kind of having a rough time in the Element Cup. I had Veteran in the Sunshine Cup, and then ever since, it feels like I've just been getting RPS'd into hell here. With this team, I was actually able to go really positive, and even against some of the negative leads, like Chinchu, or even opposing Ducklets, I was able to pull out wins with this team, and I do highly recommend it. Thank you to Human Catcherbug for the team, and definitely check out this video if you want some more like advanced insight on this team as well. Guys, if you notice something is a little bit different, I'm actually quite sick here at the minute, so I'm just going to power through this video nonetheless, so if I sound a little bit lower energy, that's basically why. So like I said, I won 20 out of 25, and I was, like I said, crashed into the 2250 range. To be honest with you guys, I've been just getting super tilted, and after sort of getting a lot of hard counters, I'll tend to get very tilted. The last few months I've been basically sleeping at 12, waking up at 4, 5 or 6, of course having 2 young kids, and then I'll be like spamming out my battles first thing in the morning, and trying to get them uploaded before noon, my time. Obviously before I started uploading, like I had a higher elo last season, or the season before last maybe, before I started uploading, funny enough, and I think that was a result of me not, playing myself into burnout, which is kind of what I've done here, and it's something I'm trying to kind of fix and address. I think just like my dedication to make videos is kind of like affecting my ability to play well, especially because I'm waking up super tired and playing battles when I'm not like fully awake, trying to get everything out quickly. So yeah, just something I have to keep in mind, and I'd recommend you guys do the same. Like if you're just kind of grinding through them every day and you're not really like enjoying the battles, or if you just you're making bad decisions, if you can look at yourself and say like, look, I'm not playing well, even though yes, I am getting hard countered, there are some games that are winnable and I'm losing them because I'm not playing well. I think you have to look at that. So yeah, that's basically why I decided, like, look, if I lose 2 games in a row, instead of just, grinding through them all and trying, it's kind of like a gambler trying to get his money back. It's like, oh, I've lost 2 in a row. Let me try to win 3 in a row now to like get that back. It's like a gambler's mentality. If you can just set that to the side, I think it'll benefit us all quite a lot more. But anyway, guys, we're hopping into the video here. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you very much for all the support in these videos. I think like a huge percent, like 70 or 80% who watch these videos are not subscribed, so I want you to quickly check there, just go out of full screen, pause it for a second, scroll down, hit that subscribe button. It really does help out a ton, and of course all likes and comments are very much appreciated. Let me know your comments and thoughts about what I just said, and by the looks of things, I think the opponent was sort of half giving up on the Ducklet match, knowing that, we have a couple of healthy Pokemon here, and they have a Chinchu in the back. So here's the strategy behind this team, right? Ducklet lead, so we're getting some really good leads here, I have to be honest, right? I think like I only seen like out of the 25 battles, I think I've seen like 5 Chinchu leads, or maybe a little bit more than that maybe. But you can win those matches. That's the amazing thing about this team. Generally, the strategy here is if you have a Chinchu lead, you swap into your Chikorita, and then the Chikorita like gets ahead by 1 Vine Whip, and if they come in with a Vulpix, you can actually win that matchup going straight Body Slam, because you're ahead on energy. You shield twice, and you can either farm them down, and the opponent will have a shield remaining, or they'll burn both shields, and you can still win that match and just outpace them by 1. That's pretty much how this match goes. So that's kind of the amazing thing about this team, and you actually do need Shadow Chikorita for this. Again, shout out to Human Catcherbug, like he was going through it all in his video. Shadow Chikorita just does that extra little damage, which allows you to farm it down, the Vulpix. Or if it's like a normal Vulpix with bad IVs, that'll allow you to farm it down. I think, right, if you're ever in this situation, you're going to see how this team will work a little bit. I actually did not quite see, like, I wanted to see more Chinchu leads with this team, but just as it happened, I was seeing a ton of Woopers and other things. I didn't get as much, like, Chinchu and Vulpix teams as I wanted to see, even though that looks like a bad team, right? Like, Chinchu lead against your Ducklet and Chikorita versus Vulpix, you're like, why would you want that? But that's exactly what this team's designed for. You're taking Switch against Vulpix with Chikorita, you're getting your Bulbasaur lined up on the Chinchu, and then Ducklet beats basically everything else, so like that's literally the plan with this team. But I was just kind of playing it against all our random things. So yeah, you definitely need Shadow Chikorita to take that match against Vulpix. Here's a really good consideration for you as well. In the zero shielding scenario, if you're like a little bit ahead on energy, you can actually beat Ducklet in the zero shield with Shadow Bulbasaur, especially if they have a Shadow Ducklet. So it's really IV dependent. It is IV dependent. So if you have like a slightly more attack weighted Shadow Bulbasaur, you'll be able to one-shot a Ducklet and win CMP. Basically, you always win CMP with Bulbasaur. That's one thing to consider. In this matchup here, the opponent's using Lotad, which this thing, it's an interesting Pokemon in this cup. This is one of the few Pokemon that can 2-shield through Ducklet, so it's worth considering. The opponent catches back in Chinchu. I have absolutely no problem with this at all. because like we still have the opponent shields as well, which is an interesting one. I guess they were just trying to like pivot out. I decide to shield up here, even though it is just a bubble beam, and we're going to overfarm a little bit, leave myself a little bit of extra energy, and allow myself to get to another seed bomb versus the Lotad. Yeah, so Lotad can 2-shield farm down, which is an interesting one. Even if the opponent throws off energy here, we can just come in with Ducklet most likely and farm down. Actually, it would have been getting a little bit close there. So we have a vulpix lead. This one's using Ember. I think I make a mistake here in CMP. I thought it was 7 for some reason. As it turns out, it's 6. I shield up the body slam, and I'm actually running double nukes on this thing because I just think it works a little bit better. The opponent lets that go, which is kind of nuts. Well, actually, they would have known it wouldn't have been the Brave Bird or whatever. I farm up a little bit extra and then come in with Chikorita. The opponent's most likely going to go for bubble beams here. The opponent should probably try to go for back-to-back here. They probably could go for Thunderbolt, which would do a substantial amount of damage. But maybe they're just looking to get extra farm, but look how much energy I'm getting. And the opponent, like, I'm not going to throw a move unless they start building up towards the Thunderbolt. The opponent keeps building up to 5, so I'm just coming out of here with, like, 3 body slams. Even though I'm debuffed, like, these are going to add up on Vulpix. Vulpix cannot take a hit. Body slam number 1 coming through, they shield it. Body slam number 2 coming through. Will they shield this one or will they let it go? And since I've already got another body slam loaded, I decided to come in and snipe with Ducklet here. Just like a couple of turns before they get to the move, and deny any energy and any sort of vibes that they might have. We go straight for this move. I think the opponent could have CMP'd there, but I'm more than happy to get this off. And, you know, I'm sure you guys can see the writing on the wall here. We've got a shield, they've got a shield. And we've got Chikorita and Bulbasaur in the back, so we can let that go. In comes Chikorita. We go for the body slam. This is so unnecessary. This is kind of trolling at this point. Like, I should just come in with Bulbasaur and make them top left. But the opponent they're fighting for their life here. And at this point, I don't even have to bring in Bulbasaur. That Vine Whip that went for he takes out, and good games to the opponent there. So yeah, let's actually hop into like more of these battles here on the commentary side of things. So we went 5-0 first set, and look, I'm gonna be real, like, we got a lot of really positive leads and stuff there, and we get ourselves a Noibat as well. So we're up to 23-26 here, from like 22-50. So we got a Vulpix here. I think, like, you know, if you're a Vulpix in that situation, you can play at the Zero Shield. I swap out a little bit late here, so I'm gonna have to sort of potentially shield an Icy Wind. Which kind of sucks, but I'm happy enough just to get the extra overfarm here. So they get to the Icy Wind in 15 turns, which is basically 7.5 wing attacks or 7.5 Vine Whips. I decided just to go for the back-to-back here. I think the opponent might try to take Switch, but they're not going to get it. They're just not going to get it. But with this team, guys, you have to take Switch where possible. Even if you have to go down 2 shields, you take Switch with Chikorita if possible. And yeah, back in comes Vulpix. And look, even though we're debuffed and stuff here, this is absolutely fine. Body slam number 1, and I decided to come in for the snipe of the Aurelius. That's why I wanted to build up that little bit of extra energy just to give myself a chance to do this. In comes a Whoop Boy, and Whoop Boy is going to top left because there's not a whole lot they can do there. So yeah, I think just that was nice energy management. I mean, that was irrelevant because I just was going to destroy that thing with Bulbasaur anyway. But you know, Whipper, like, you know, depending on the energy and stuff like that, if they get a little bit ahead in energy, those Mud Bombs do an awful lot to Bulbasaur. One thing you have to keep in mind is, if the opponent's using like Confusion users, or if they're using Mud Boys, Confusion is super effective, and Mud Boys of course is neutral, and Whipper hits like a truck, so you don't really want to like put yourself in a position with Bulbasaur to get Mud Bombed before you can get off a Seed Bomb. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. I don't think it was too relevant for that last one, but Ducklet versus Ducklet, this is probably my least favourite lead, but we'll see how we play it out. This is kind of why I like to have Aurelius, but I do go straight for the Brave Bird this time. Now here's the fact, you actually live a Brave Bird, right? And I think, I can make a call here. So I'm like, right, I'll get a shield off the opponent, and if they Brave Bird, I'll be able to like just farm down. I think this is another Bubble Beam, but at this point I'm like, I can get off another Brave Bird, at least get both shields off the opponent, and then safe switch into Chikorita. It's kind of crazy that you're safe switching Chikorita into this, but that's just kind of what you have to do. Now, I'm assuming they're going to go for the Brave Bird, but we get off the Body Slam first. We would have won CMP anyway, and that will take out the Ducklet, and we still have a shield. This is amazing. In comes Bulbasaur, and of course they're going to go for a Sludge Bomb here, which will take us out. But at this point, we're just trying to get it into farm down range, and the opponent swaps out to Vulpix. I think the opponent realizes that ahead on energy, we can actually destroy Vulpix, so they tried to bang a Seed Bomb, and we're just going to spam out Body Slams. I might even shield this because the opponent's let me get up to a move. I realized the opponent banked some energy in Bulbasaur, so what I want to do here is come in with Ducklet and force them to throw energy, and then come in and hopefully go for farm down with Bulbasaur, and put myself in a position where, you know, even if I have to shield up a Weather Ball, I'll be ahead on energy for the mirror match, and one Sludge Bomb should just about take out Bulbasaur. I almost no-shielded that, thinking it might just be a Body Slam, but yeah, in comes Bulbasaur. They're not going to reach a Sludge Bomb in time, and this will absolutely wipe them out. I'm not sure how much that does from full health, but it does a lot. Sludge Bombs, it just hit like an absolute truck on this thing. So yeah, good games, had to manage energy a little bit there. And we're hopping into the next one. Slugma, this is like a sort of negative lead because they know Rock Throw, which, you know, if they double shield, they can run through you. And in comes an Execute. So I'm thinking, usually when I see Execute, I expect to see Slowpoke in the back as well. Or I've seen like a lot of ABA teams with Execute and Slowpoke, but we're just so spammy, and this is the power of Chikorita here. Goodbye. Oh, you decide to shield? Can we get to another one? No, we cannot. At this point, we can look to come back in with Ducklet and maybe go for Farm Down. Now, Execute knows Ancient Power, so you have to shield this, basically. I mean, Ancient Power doesn't do that much because it's non-stab. It'll get you down below half health. It's not like a one-shot move. So I've been getting so many opponents who boosted. I'm sure you've seen it earlier. Laleep, I think double boosted against me. I've been getting so many boosts against me, which is kind of nuts. I decided to go for the Brave Bird. This is unnecessary as hell. I just, yeah, like I should have just went for the Aerialist, because a Bubble Beam like threatens to do an awful lot of damage on the thing, which is what most people are running. But ladies and gents, in comes Chikorita, and we would win CMP against this thing, and goodbye. See you later, Chikorita. And yeah, back in comes this bad boy. We can just shield up here and go for Seed Bomb. You know, even though resisted, the thing you have to remember in this cup, I think you've seen me doing it earlier, I was going straight Seed Bomb against vulpix. Like, it still does like 35-40% of them, and that actually takes them out there. You know, it's not like Great League where if you go for the wrong move, it's kind of a mess. Alright, in comes Chinchu. Let's see if we can win this. The opponent swaps out so quickly here. Shout out to the opponent there. They didn't let us get too ahead in energy. I think they were just like anticipating the swap and just clicked it straight away. Now this thing knows Wild Charge and maybe Body Slam. I'm not too sure. Is a Seed Bomb and Wild Charge. Yeah, so it kind of looks like we're maybe going to lose Switch unless the opponent lets it go, which could prove to be vital here. Yeah, we do get off another Body Slam, but will it be enough? We'll have to find out here. Yep, so the opponent shields it up, and I think we're going to come in with the Duck Boy here, and maybe look to go for Farm Down. I think I maybe should have just come in... Oh, actually, we come in with Bulbasaur here. I think the reason I go in with Bulbasaur is because I want to get ahead in energy, just in case they do have a Ducklet of their own. Now what I decide to do here is, because I know I need to keep my Bulbasaur alive, is go for the chip on this thing, try to catch like what would be a Brave Bird or something on Ducklet, or try to catch some sort of energy on it, and try to keep my boyo alive. Now as you can see, we can live the Brave Bird. This is perfect. The opponent's going for Bubble Beam, and what I'm hoping to do is basically just farm this down with Bulbasaur. We're getting super low. We're going to look to go for Seed Bomb here on Chinchu, which again, this is where the Shadow would be better. To be fair though, this Bulbasaur would have been already dead if it was a Shadow, so maybe that's not correct, but in general, a Seed Bomb would probably just one-shot with a Shadow. Or maybe I could have even farmed down the Deerling or whatever it's called. So, unlucky. Good games to the opponent there. They were able to just tackle us down. Right, we're going for a Brave Bird, are we? Or is this an Aerialist? It's a Brave Bird, and we just basically wipe out the seal. If the opponent calls it, it's so rough for them. The opponent's having a long, hard think about this one, and we're going to come in here and just spam off Body Slams in this thing. Usually in this matchup here, like, I don't always shield it. The opponent does invest a shield straight away, and we're getting so low that, like, they can go for a Body Slam, or can go for a Bubble Beam, which if they do, it would be a mistake, but they go for the Aerialist, which is okay. And did they actually just beat us in CMP there? I wouldn't have expected that. Was that actually a CMP? That's interesting for sure. What I decided to do is I kind of decided to throw this game a little bit by not throwing my move off straight away and having to invest an extra shield. It's going to be tough to actually get the second move off. I was trying to basically get myself low, and I decided to bank the energy there. In comes Shroomish, and can we get to the Sludge Bomb in time? We do. We absolutely just one-shot this thing with this Sludge Bomb. I'm not sure why people are using Shroomish. I've started seeing it a little bit. Yeah, we can just get the farm done. Yeah, so I was definitely not playing my best there, letting them get off that extra move. But GG's nonetheless. Yeah, Shroomish is an interesting one. I think it only knows grass-type moves. Like, I don't really see what the point is in it. It is, like, a little bit bulkier and stuff, but GG's anyway. We've got a Chinchu lead. Now, here's a big key difference here, right? The opponent stayed in and went for Bubble Beam. If you're ever in this situation, guys, do what the opponent did, because that is the clever way to play this matchup. As I was watching Human Catcherbug's game, the opponents were just swapping straight out. The opponent played this correctly, because you're going to see, like, you know, it's going to take, like, 2 Body Slams to take out. We can't actually farm down anymore, because we're debuffed. And, of course, the Body Slams do less damage. So the opponent can actually take Switch here, so they've basically thrown a spanner into our game plan here. So I think I shield this and try to get shields down off the opponent, and maybe look to come in and farm down with Ducklet. But the opponent's going to get back ahead in energy here again, so maybe I go for the aggro swap, yeah. Trying to get something happening here, because I know one Brave Bird will just do a lot of damage to Chinchu. And, you know, I can try to look to sweep with Bulbasaur. I'm trying to farm up as much as possible here to just before the Bubble Beam, and go for the Brave Bird. Yeah, that does actually take them out, which is amazing, and it means the opponent's not going to get a ton of farm on the other side too. So that's basically why we do it that way. The opponent farms this time with vulpix. I'm going to come in with Chikorita to not take any damage on Bulbasaur, and we're just hoping and praying they have something good in the back for Bulbasaur. You would think that vulpix is their hardest answer, and in comes a Ducklet. Now again, look, this is where the Shadow is just like even that little bit better. Look at this Sludge Bomb going through. It does not one-shot them, guys, and they will get to the Brave Bird. So again, like, if you had a Shadow one, I would have won that match. If I had a Shadow one, I would have won that match. So good games to the opponent there, and that's, you know, if you have a Shadow, I would actually recommend using it. Ducklet lead. So we're going to go ahead and probably just, I play this match differently every time. We win CMP in the Brave Bird. Honestly, in this match, it's almost better not to win CMP, because, oh, the opponent lets it go. So I think I decided to shield this because the opponent let it go, and even if it is a Bubble Beam, we can still farm down anyway. So at this point, we've got rid of this thing. We're most likely going to safe swap into Chikorita. Doesn't matter what comes in. Yep, here comes Chinchu, and of course we have the answer in the back. Now this is where you're going to see like the energy advantage coming into play here. Body Slam number 1 coming through, and look how much damage we're doing with this thing. We're just we're vine whipping this thing down. At the very least, we can look to get another shield or 2 off the opponent. I think because they're up 2-1 shields, they might be able to take this match if they want to. But look at these vine whips go. The opponent will take us out here, but they're getting super low. And yeah, that's the power of Chikorita there. We're going to look to farm down with Ducklet. We just about get the farm down. And in comes the Chin Boy. The Chin Boy is going to eat a Brave Bird for its troubles here. And the opponent can't really shield this, unfortunately, for them. And in comes Bulbasaur. 1 Thunderbolt does about 50-odd%, I think. I think Human Catcher Bug's at 51%. So yeah, bad lead here. We'll swap out into Chikorita. In comes Vulpix, and I'm not sure if this is actually like the same sort of scenario for the Shadow, but that's doing a lot of damage. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to take this one in the 2 shield. I think if they have like a super highly rated normal Vulpix, you get like a Vine Whip breakpoint on this at some point. So if you're running like slightly more attack on Chikorita, or if they're running like a lower defense, you'll get a breakpoint where the Vine Whips will add up a little bit more. Yeah, so we can just basically shield through this and come out with like almost, well, just over a Body Slam, and we will get off 2 Body Slams against this thing. Again, this is where Chikorita is just so deadly, super spammy with the Body Slams, forcing shields from the Ducklet. I mean, I don't think I was going to get up to the power up. Yeah, I definitely wasn't going to get to it. But we've already got this thing super low. And as I've mentioned to you guys, you can live a Brave Bird. And we know that the opponent has Chinchu in the back. So we swap out to Bulbasaur, a little bit slow in the swap. I was tapping it, but it just would not tap for me. And I think what we'll look to do here is just farm up to the back-to-back. In comes the Bubble Beam. We'll farm up to the back-to-back Seed Bombs. And that'll basically put us in a position where, even if the opponent did have a Brave Bird loaded, we would win CMP anyway. Yep, Seed Bomb 2 coming through. And that's how you beat this team, guys. Like, this is about your, you know, quote-unquote hardest counter team. But in my personal opinion, like, this is the best team to face with for this team, you know what I mean? So in comes Chinchu. Let's see if we can win this one here. The opponent comes in with, what is this move? I don't know what this, is this Hidden Power Bug or something? I have no idea what this move is. I know that, like, what do you call that Pokemon? Pineco's Evolution Fortress knows this move. I cannot remember this move. Is it Struggle Bug? I have absolutely no idea. All I know is it's some sort of bug move and it's absolutely ripping through my Chikorita. But this bug move will do nothing against Ducklet, and we can look to farm the whole way down. Of course, double super effective wing attacks. Now at this point we can look to Brave Bird the Chinchu, and if they let this go it'll do a lot of damage. We're almost farming it down, and in comes Vulpix, and look guys, we're ahead on energy. So again, you're seeing like a negative lead, but we're finding ourselves in a really strong position here now. Now I go for the overfarm and go for the Sludge Bomb. I feel like the opponent's win condition is to call a bait. We're not baiting, we do just fault in the Sludge Bomb and we can farm down the Chinchu. I was thinking about BMing this and just letting the Thunderbolt through, because I think it maybe would just about not take out, knowing I could just wing it down, but I decided not to troll here and just hop into the next one. So look, we're looking pretty good here, and as you can see we're up to 23-66, and we're having a really positive set. I'm not sure how I should play this match. I know that I have pace, right? So I can just look to land a Brave Bird before they can get to an Icy Wind. We get their 1 turn before they get to the Icy Wind. And look, we almost one-shot it, and then we just insta-swap out. Now, I don't know this match well enough to know that I should, like, let this go or whatever. But in comes Shroomish. And once again, I think this thing only knows Grass-type moves. So we can just basically Body Slam spam on this thing, and this will be absolutely fine. If we can even force a shield off the opponent, that'll be perfect. But I don't think I'm going to shield anything off this thing. From what I can see, Shroomish, it seems to be just like a really bulky grass type. That grass not done a lot of damage there. It seems to be a bulkier grass type. We don't get to the next move, unfortunately, but it's not going to matter. I'd almost prefer to get the farm on Ducklet here at this point. And I think I do shield this, because this grass knot will just actually rip through our Ducklet, and we'll farm down the Shroomish here. Now the opponent has 2 Pokemon left. It is kind of a little bit awkward because they've got 2 shields, but we've got loaded energy here, and we decide to go for a bait here. Thinking the opponent has to shield up something, in comes a leap. This thing is kind of awkward because, see, I kind of mess up here. I needed just to get off that move. I wanted to go for the Brave Bird. Ancient Power takes us out. That's my mistake right there, guys. I should have just threw the move off straight away. I was trying to throw in good timing, but I ended up letting the opponent get off the move. And realistically, guys, I just didn't know the counts that well on this thing. They get the attack rise and the attack boost, which just are the attack rise and defense boost, which of course adds a little bit of insult to injury here. We can go for no move because they farm us down, and that was my mistake in that match for sure. Definitely my misplay there. I think if I just throw off that aerial ace, it puts us in a position where we can potentially win the match. Yeah, so in my case, definitely overfarmed a little bit too much, but that's what we can do, just learn from that one. Get a very positive lead here, and in comes Wooper, a very positive swap as well. Cottony Wooper, and what would be in the back? I'm guessing Vulpix maybe, or Ducklet. So this is absolutely perfect. I do want to throw a move here, because these body slams do add up from this thing, and the opponent, yeah, they're just going to let it go. I was thinking they might try to shield up and take switch, or see if we would let switch go, but they do end up just letting it go. Now these body slams will add up on this thing. I'll get it into around the 50% health mark, and yeah, we're just getting them into the yellow now, which is perfect. It leaves them in a nice sort of farm range. We actually don't let them get to the move here, because like grass type moves add up on Ducklet quite a lot. You don't want to eat them if possible. In comes Chinchu, in comes Bulbasaur, and I'm sure the top left is coming sooner or later here. Good games. RPS the opponent, and we're RPSing again. Chikorita, in comes Ducklet. Now again, Ducklet is our best answer to Ducklet, so I just go straight for the Brave Bird. If they know that they can survive it, they might let it go, and they do decide to shield it. At this point, we safe switch into Chikorita, which once again, like, it's not perfect, not the best thing you would want, but that's the best we've got. We do decide to chip it down, and because the opponent has basically let themselves get so low, I'm assuming this will be the Brave Bird. I do let that go, or I do shield it, sorry, and we go to farm down. Back in will come the grass type here. Yep, we're going to go ahead and go for the body slam here against the opposing Chikorita. And can we get off another one? We just about do, which will threaten the opponent's health very, very low. And worst case scenario, the opponent's going to body slam the Ducklet. Yeah, I swap out here eventually, and in comes Chinchu. This is not going to matter one bit. We're going to go straight for the Brave Bird. The opponent wins CMP, and they go for the Bubble Beam. The opponent's really only play here was just to go for the full farm down. I'm perfectly happy with this, for them to go for the Bubble Beam, because it means like they're going to be in pretty low energy. They're only getting through 2 sparks, leaving them 5 away from the Thunderbolt. And as you're about to see here, about 3 of these Vine Whips, 1, 2. So this can only be another Bubble Beam, so I'm like, okay, cool. If you want to throw Bubble Beams, be my guest. 3, 4, okay, so it took us like 4 to farm it down, with the debuff and the opponent top left. And again guys, we're RPSing the opponent here. I'm going to be real, like, I definitely did get a lot of good leads yesterday. This is where I prefer to have Aerial Ace though, against the opposing grass types, and the opponent lets that go, thinking that, if it's a Brave Bird, we'll be debuffed, and we're going to safe swap it out into the Chikorita. The opponent's staying in here, which is quite interesting. They do want to get off a debuff by the looks of things, and they're going to look to pivot into Lotad. At this point, I'm just going to go for the hard-hitting Power Whip. The opponent knows that we're debuffed, so they might try to let this go. I've not landed a Power Whip on this thing. I go for another, sorry, it's a Grass Knot. We go for another Grass Knot here, threatening a lot of damage, knowing that, yeah, that does a lot. Even debuff, that does a lot. Yeah, so we basically won this game already. Bubble Beam coming through, we even take switch, and in comes Chinchu, and they're probably thinking, okay, we've got rid of this, maybe we can win. Nope. that's going to be a no, sir. We do have 2 grass types. I think 2 grass types is just so strong in this meta because, of course, Chinchus are everywhere looking for Ducklets, and Ducklet itself takes neutral damage from grass types, and as you've seen against the Vulpix, Chikorita can do really well. So, like, these grass types are just super powerful. And again, with the Shadow Bulbasaur, you've got Sludge Bomb, and even just Sludge Bomb from a normal Bulbasaur just hits like a truck. And we've got this, like, whatever this move is. I'm gonna have to look this move up because I just genuinely don't know what it is. But we're gonna look to spam off a couple of body slams. Like, I don't even know, is this a 3-turn move, a 2-turn move? Like, what is this move? I don't even know at this point. I could have let that one go, but I decided I'm gonna try to take switch if I can. Because again, you always do try to. We're either going to get even shields off the opponent or take switch. Can we get to another move? We just about do. And if the opponent lets us go, we will take switch, or we will take shield advantage if they do shield it up. They do shield it up, and I think we're going to look to farm down. So this is about the best you can hope for here. Switch or shield advantage, and the opponent will get off a move. I think I should be letting this go. I do let it go, thankfully. And we're looking to be ahead on energy here. So even if their Chinchu comes in, we can look to Brave Bird it, and the opponent CMPs us here. I think this is only a Bubble Beam. At this point, I think this is only a Bubble Beam. They're just trying to soften the blow of the Brave Bird. which is potentially a smart play. We're going to fire this Brave Bird off. It'll get them very low, and we're going to look to come for a farm down. Now again, ahead in energy, you know, Bulbasaur can do a lot of work against vulpix here, and of course up a shield. And they go for a body slam bait, which is kind of annoying. If I had called that, that would have been rough for the opponent. But this Sludge Bomb is going to look to almost take them out. And can we farm it down in time? We just about can. That's the power of Bulbasaur right there, and Chinchu can do nothing, and that's going to be a good game. So in this cup, most people only really have one answer for a grass type. So most of the time, your grass type runs free in the back. I mean, like, some people, I guess, can have Ducklet and Vulpix, but if they have Ducklet and Vulpix, that completely plays into our team plan. So that's why this team is super powerful. Now this time around, we go for the Aurelius, so we'll see what the opponent does. They do shield it up, and I think I let this one go, knowing I can live a Brave Bird. But the looks of things, we're actually doing a little bit more damage. Haha, the opponent goes for a Bubble Beam, and at this point, I'm more than happy with this. We'll go for, this should be just another Bubble Beam, I think. Unless the opponent just full sends it. No, they go for another Bubble Beam. So we can even over farm a little bit here, and go for the Brave Bird. The opponent's seen Aurelius, they're probably assuming Aurelius and Bubble Beam, but we have the Brave Bird as well, and we're just going to insta-swap. Loaded energy on this as well. We're only about 2 away from the move, and this is perfect, folks. These charms are resisted on Bulbasaur, and we can spam out body slams, and of course we have Bulbasaur just to deal with everything in the back. We can even look to come for a little farm down with Ducklet after this takes us out eventually. This is looking to be a good game already, and we've got 2 shields as well. There's not a whole lot the opponent can really do here. I think, do I just let this go? No, I do shield it, and maybe look to farm down. Grass not coming through. Do I actually throw off a move here? I do throw off a move. I think I wasn't going to quite get the farm down with charms just adding up on this thing. Switch clock's coming, in comes a Wooper, and we're getting ahead on energy here, and GG's. So, again, like, most people have one answer to grass types, but it's not very often to have 2. Again, if you just put in some work against those Ducklets and Vulpixes with your grass types, or of course your own Ducklet, it puts you in a very good position to sweep with Bulbasaur in the end. Now this matchup here is quite awkward, right? Because you're thinking, well, you've got 2 grass types, so why not swap it into Chikorita? They've got an Execute in the back, you can almost guarantee it, so I want to like try to get a shield off them or something, and like get ahead on energy in Chikorita first. Just to make sure that they don't completely like wreck us here. I might throw in bad timing here on these. I can never throw in good timing. I think I actually did manage to do so on this first time around, and we'll see if the opponent lets us go. Second body slam coming through, this will threaten to take out. So at the very least, like, we're going to get shield advantage, but the opponent lets it go, and this is exactly what I want. Back in comes Slowpoke. Do we get off another body slam? We just about do. Love to see that. This will threaten to take out or take the final shield. The opponent does shield it up. And I think we got a simul KO because the opponent got a little bit of lag. In comes Cottony, and good games, basically. So like, usually those matches are a little bit more awkward than that, but if you ever see a Slowpoke lead, this is the team read you need to make. Cottony and Execute in the back. That's what you tend to see with that. Execute's an amazing safe swap. We're going up against a veteran player, and we've got Ducklet on their Vulpix, which is a good lead. Am I going to fall for CMP here? The opponent froze straight away. So no CMPs will be fallen for here, and I think what we'll look to do is just go for an Aurelius straight away. The opponents can let a Bubble Beam go, so I was just kind of trying to pretend that was a Bubble Beam. We do get a shield off the opponent, and at this point, up a shield, and we end up CMPing, which is a little bit unfortunate there. But up a shield, we should be able to take switch here, or look to take out Vulpix and see what the opponent has in the back. I am expecting the opponent, they actually let it go, which really surprised me, and in comes Ducklet here. I could go for the Grass Knot here, which would put in the most amount of damage. Of course, stab Grass Knots against, with a Shadow Chikorita, the opponent does wisely shield it up. The only sort of bad thing is it puts them in a position to comfortably farm down, but we do go for Body Slam on the way out. So we were only getting off 2 moves, so that was, you know, fine anyway. The opponent has a shield. I think I might just let this go. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I just let this go. It's a Bubble Beam. Nice bait by the opponent there, and in comes Chinchu, in comes Bulbasaur. I think that was a pretty crucial call. I don't want to get debuffed here if possible, so I'll happily just fire off this. I think I will be getting... Okay, that actually one-shots them, and at this point we can farm down the Ducklet. The opponent realizes the game is over there, and nice one. GG's. So again, you're seeing like some of the Pokemon that are awkward to deal with, they're manageable with this team. And look, we're looking pretty decent here. We're up to 24-26 now at this point. And I think I went 4-1 in the final set, and I just cut one of the matches out because this video is already like over 30 minutes, so thank you if you've watched it to this point. Definitely hit that like and subscribe, and feel free to join us in Discord. This is an awkward Pokemon here because this can actually 2-shield for your Ducklet, so what I decided to do is fire off a move straight away. The opponent might think it's just a Bubble Beam, or you know, we're at least threatening the Aurelius that goes through, and that's what's amazing about going for Aurelius and Brave Bird, because the opponent now thinks that I don't have Brave Bird. So there might be a scenario later on where I can go for Brave Bird and the opponent will just not respect it. Body Slam number 1 coming through, and we go for body slam number 2, losing CMP. Now I'm predicting the opponent to bait here, so I decide to let this go, and yes, the opponent does bait. Most often you don't really shield Chikorita unless you're like dying to take switch, but at this point like we're pretty happy with this scenario. They cannot farm us down here, and I could invest a shield here and look to body slam them. I'm happy enough just to take the 2-to-1 shield advantage. They're pretty much dry on the Bulbasaur, so we can look to go for farm down with Ducklet. The opponent swaps straight out, we swap straight out, and the writing's on the wall again, folks. We're looking to CMP the opponent here on the Seed Bomb, which would threaten to do a lot of damage to the opponent. The opponent is shielded up, and at this point, you know, I know that the Thunderbolt does 50% damage, or the Bubble Beam is more likely, but they do go for the Thunderbolt, and that done a lot of damage. My IVs are pretty bad with Bulbasaur, and we once again CMP on the Bubble Beam. Don't want to get debuffed if necessary, unless necessary, and back in comes their Bulbasaur. We've got 2 shields, like with 0, and 1 Seed Bomb would take out at that range. So guys, we went another 4-1 set, guys, and we went up from like 2250 to 2470, so an elo gain of about 220 elo, which is about the best I've had in a long time. Like I said, since the Sunshine Cup, I hit Veteran on the first or second day of that, and then I've just got completely destroyed ever since. Like, I've just not been able to get good matchups and not been able to play well. So if you're looking at this video and thinking, wow, you're just getting all the lucky matches, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I just want you to know that like the last week or so has been just absolutely rough for me. And of course, like I said, with all of the hard matchups I'm getting constantly, I have been getting quite tilted and stuff like that. But GG's guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. As you can see, like even against the bad teams, this team can perform really well. Like and sub, thanks for watching, and much love for all the support in these videos. Feel free to go on ahead and join Discord as well. I'm going to be doing a tournament quite soon, so stay tuned for that. And thank you very much everybody for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.